From the views on the street,
we go to bed empty hunger,
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries, Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents.
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
Representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people.
Hello there, good morning and welcome to the midweek edition of VOP This Morning on Voice of the People Television. Now today is Wednesday, the 11th day of December 2024. That is 11/12/2024. I am Chukwuma Okoro. On the show this morning, Shettima criticizes UK Conservative leader Badenoch for denigrating Nigeria. Now, Nigeria's Vice President, Kashim Shettima, used the opportunity of the 10th annual migration dialogue held at the State House in Abuja yesterday, to resurrect a comment made by Conservative leader Badenoch in 2022 when Kemi accused Nigerian leaders of mismanaging funds. Now, the Vice President didn't find that palatable. At the occasion yesterday, Vice President said, he highlighted the efforts of migrants in developing their host nations and asked Kemi to be the same thing. And if she doesn't like that, she can even remove her name, Kemi, from her main name, Badenoch. And the Vice President, cited the instances of people like Elon Musk, a South African American, Rupert Murdoch, Australian American, Rishi Sunak, Kenyan, Indian American, even Madeleine Albright, a Czech American who played significant roles, in their host country. Now, Nigerians have reacted saying, at this point, how can we locate the fine line, the blur line between patriotism, perception, and reality? Vice President said Nigeria is the most populous black nation in the world. And by 2050, we'll have the largest black population. He also said that Nigeria is a giant of Africa. And now Nigerians are asking, how do you measure giant? Is it by size or by value? Oh, well, this is one of the major topics we have today. I'm not alone in the studio. Fina Faino.
Good morning, Chukwuma Okoro. Good to have you in today's show, as usual. The other day I missed you, but today I think I'm not going to miss you because of the way you just, outline everything. But all the same, when people talk about perception and people's opinion and how they are entitled to it, one want to ask, whatever thing is it that Kemi Badenoch talked about, can Nigerians now say she is speaking against the, political juggernauts, or is she making any sense in it? And with that, I'll bring you to the second topic of conversation, where APC reacts as Atiku'S spokesman accuses Presidency of using Wike, that's a FCT minister, to destroy PDP. And other political parties have also come up to say that this particular issue, I'm talking about someone who happens to be part of PDP, but one leg is another party. And we have seen how the internal wrangling in PDP, it's more like a weapon to destabilize a party further. I don't know, but this is one of the themes we'll be talking about during the course of the program. I am Fina Okechukwu.
All right, well, you already know what we'll be touching on, the things we'll be touching on today. Now, let me let you know how you can be part of the conversation as well. You can send us messages via WhatsApp, or better still, just call the line. And the number is 0904 473 2605. That is 0904 473 2605. And also do well to check out the website www.vop.ng. On YouTube, we are Voice of the People TV. And on all the social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. I'm Moses Humphrey, welcoming you on board this beautiful Wednesday morning. Now let's get into some of the issues that are not major for today. There are major issues, but they're not on the table, for discussion, for proper discussion. But we'll touch on them because we know Nigerians are talking about them. Now, the detention of human rights lawyer Dele Farutimi, reportedly under a non-existent cyberbullying law in Ekiti State, has sparked widespread condemnation as an attack on free speech and justice in Nigeria. Well, former Vice President Atiku'S has criticized the arrest, describing it as a troubling example of growing repression and the misuse of laws to silence dissent. Marking International Human Rights Day, which was yesterday, the 10th of December, Atiku urged leaders to honor their constitutional obligation to protect citizens' rights, warning that such actions threaten Nigeria's democracy and fundamental freedom. Well, it was a World Human Rights Day, and Nigeria has scored really low in the World Human Rights Index. I think Nigeria is about 120 something out of 140, in that index, scoring low. And this is from about 2015 till about 2024. Yes, 2015 to 2024. And it dipped further. I think the ratings went up a little sometime around 2017 and then dipped again in 2023, which shows that human rights are not respected in Nigeria. But I have a little bit of a problem with the ratings, though, because some parts of it talks about same-sex relationship and all of that. Some parts of it, yeah. But I'm not going to speak to that part that talks about same-sex relationship. But freedom of speech greatly being hampered in Nigeria, where we've seen a situation where journalists are being, asked to basically shut up. They've been arrested, detained unlawfully. We've seen the situation where the courts issue laws, issue verdicts, and those verdicts are not abided by. The words of the courts don't seem to hold water. We've seen situations where politicians are not held accountable for their actions. They just do things and they get away with it. So these things have contributed in bringing down, Nigeria's human rights rating. And in comparison to places like military-ruled Niger, Nigeria is doing very poorly, unfortunately so. Well, this is something that Nigerians will continue to talk about, and hopefully, we'll see better days ahead.
All right, Moses, quick one. Human Rights Watch has said a lot about Nigeria's ranking, but I want to touch on one thing that you said, that in that index, Nigeria performed poorly. And I want to find out from you, or probably Fina, if there is any index, that Nigeria has done well. Is it corruption perception index? Is it ease of doing business index? Is it a fragile states index? Is it which one? That is a good one. The places where we do poorly.
That also takes me back to the question you said, to something you made mention of earlier, that is Nigeria the giant of Africa?
How do you measure giant? Is it by size or by value? And again, when you say that the thing moved up and tipped again, it wasn't sustainable. It was just a bounce back. Because if you don't sustain it at that level for like 2-3 years, it's mainly a bounce back.
Sustainability are we looking at? Well, we rank 115 as of 2020.
What I mean,
is it 5 minutes gap, five points gap that we have to celebrate?
If it is 2 points gap, if you move 2 points and sustain it and remain there for like 2 years, it becomes sustainable. But if you move a step higher and by next 1 year you are back, it's just a bounce. It was a bounce back, so it doesn't count as being sustainable. So Nigeria's human rights record, just like any other thing, is taking a nosedive. And Moses just pointed out, and it doesn't take a Moses to do that. It's out there in the open.
Yeah, it is.
Niger is doing better than us, the military regime. And so Nigerians are beginning to ask, is it really a democracy that we are practicing? Where are we headed to? Look at what happened. We are talking about Dele Farotimi. You know, many Nigerians didn't know that Dele had two cases. One between the Dele versus the Inspector General of Police, and another one between Dele and Afe Babalola. The one that was dispensed with on Monday was the one between IGP versus Dele Farotimi. And yesterday he was sent back to detention up until 20th December, and people are asking. That law, cyberbullying, is non-existent
in Ekiti State.
So why do you have to ferry him from Lagos to Ekiti State to try him when that state doesn't have a cyberbullying law? So when Nigeria's human rights index begins to take a nosedive, people don't need to travel far to understand where we are coming from. You know, the history, that has shaped the contemporary events before us. It's not difficult. You don't need to travel far to find all of those things. Quite unfortunate.
You know, the painful part of it is that the people who are involved in some of the things you just pointed out this morning are those that we expect that they should know better. You know, when we talk about the IGP of police, we expect that he should also understand the importance of upholding people's fundamental right, and then also the senior lawyer in person of Afe Babalola, who also, happened to be on the radar when we talk about Farotimi versus Afe Babalola in Ekiti State. These are the people that we expect ordinarily that they should understand, everything that has to do with fundamental human rights, its importance, and also how to uphold it. But we don't really know what is happening. And one we want to ask again, is Kemi Badenoch saying the truth?
Well, we'll get.
Or are we not really looking at it the way it should be?
We'll get into that in the course of the program, because there's still a lot more to talk about in that regard as well. Well, let's look at another issue now. The Federal Capital Territory High Court in Shettima has remanded former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello in Kuje Prison over alleged involvement in a 110 billion naira fraud case. Well, Justice Marianne Aneni denied his bail application, deeming it premature, since it was filed before his detention. Well, Bello, who served as governor from 2016 to 2024, faces 16 charges, 2023 that is, faces 16 charges alongside two co-defendants accused of misusing state funds to acquire multiple properties in Abuja and Dubai. Well, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, opposed his bail, citing his history of evading trial, while the court adjourned proceedings until February 25, 2025. Well, I think this is coming because of the outcry, the comparison that Nigerians have made with the way and manner in which Dele Farotimi was being handled in court, and the way and manner Bello strolled into the EFCC office and strolled into court. In fact, was telling people, "Calm down, don't worry." He was exercising his big manship within the But it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that we have to draw these comparisons for the justice system to do the needful. Well, now he's been remanded. Whether or not he will be remanded in the correctional center or in a private apartment like some risky people were, well, whether or not, we don't care. Well, I don't care. The fact of the matter is, it's out there in the news that he's been remanded. He will be remanded, and his bail application, which he filed. I mean, you're filing the bail application before arraignment. It's not done that way. Before being detained, before arraignment, you're filing from your home. That look, I'm going to the EFCC. I'm going to court in 2 days' time. Let me file arraignment now. Let me file my bail application ahead of time. That's not the way it's done. Well, let's see what plays out. It's February 25. Hopefully, he may not be as robust and rotund as he looks currently when he comes to court in February 25.
Moses, I
Am I a
care.
hater?
I really care. No,
Am I a hater?
no, you're not. You're not.
Okay.
You're not. But I care when you say you don't care whether he's being fixed there in that facility.
Well, the reason I say that is he may not be there. He may just be somewhere.
That would be a very big slap.
enjoying the Christmas.
That would be a very big slap.
But we know that happens.
Yeah, we know it happens. You know, with the case of one man you just cited, where we don't know whether he was there or not.
The risky fellow. The risky fellow.
But the truth of the matter is this: I'm actually happy that Justice Anene could look Yaya Bello and his counsel in the face and say, no, you can wake up and tell us that you apply for bail for you to be granted bail on the 22nd of November and you appear in court on the 25th of November. It's more like making a jest of the judicial system in Nigeria. And my happiness is that he is going to be there until February 25, 2025 for the proper proceeding proper. But if he is not in the correctional facility, I'm talking about Kuje Correctional Center, I feel I will not be happy. I'll take it personal. Reason being that the place is not meant for selected few. It's meant for defaulters. If the court says stay there, you should be there. We shouldn't create room for political juggernauts or those that call themselves the big wigs to enjoy. How would they now feel the impact of the things they've done? How would they be corrected if you did not subject them to the proceeding of the proper correction that they are entering for?
All right. I think I more like align my thoughts with that of Moses and Fina. But my parting shot on this matter is that, look, Yaya Bello has been addressed the way he dressed. I mean, he's a fugitive who's been running away from justice. The long arm of the law caught up with him, and now the judge is treating him, is addressing him the way he dressed. I mean, how did he dress? He was running away from justice. Now, he's been caught. So that's it for me. Now, let's move on to the third topic of discussion. I mean, the quick take. Now, the Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi II, has revealed that he advises his daughters to retaliate if their husbands hit them, emphasizing his disapproval of domestic violence. Isn't that some kind of contradiction? You advise them to hit back, and now you are saying that you are against domestic violence. Oh well. Now, speaking at the conference on gender-based violence, GVB teamed Islamic teachings and community collaboration for ending gender-based violence. Sanusi highlighted the prevalence of domestic violence, noting that 45% of cases in domestic violence in Kano over the 5 years involved wife battery. He criticized the misuse of Islamic teachings to justify violence, stating that many men fail to adhere to the guidelines for light beating, small touching as priests, resulting instead to severe and harmful abuse. It's interesting to know that even our holy book prescribes light, soft beating, in case you are wife. But, a lot of people, you see, it's more like elephants in the living room. People don't like to talk about it. But it is true,
Yes,
some marriages have been brought back to sanity because
by a little slap.
soft touching, you understand? Unfortunately,
I shake my head in disbelief.
Unfortunately, people don't talk about it.
People don't talk about it, but
it's there. That's the reality.
It's there in the book.
I agree with Sanusi. You don't beat, but where I disagree with him is at a point where he now seems to tell us that two wrongs can make a right. If he beats you, retaliate. But on the other hand, you are still telling us that, look, you abhor, but you don't approve of it. To me, it's some kind of contradiction. Oh, well, let's hear from Fina, because Fina is already shaking her head in disapproval and all of that. Let's hear your take.
For the past 8 years, I've been talking relationship, and I can boldly say that I've been against abusive relationship. The abuse can come in both ways. Women do abuse husband too, and husband abuse their wives too. But when Emir Sanusi II said something about retaliation and all that, I kind of pinched myself and I was like, okay, fine. If that actually can be there, when you slap me, for example, I can slap you for you to also feel the pain of how the slap works. I think we should find a way to look away from everything that has to do, with abuse. There are many ways to settle issues. There are many ways to make your marriage or your relationship work without being abusive in it. Abusive relationship doesn't have anything just to do solely with beating. Be it light beating, it has a whole lot. Emotional abuse is there, financial abuse is there, psychological abuse is there, before you don't talk about the physical abuse and all that. And then I will just say this for clarity purpose. If you're in a relationship and the abuse now turn out to not just be psychologically, emotionally, but it turn out to be physical. My dear, you have to find a way to excuse yourself for the meantime. Yes, you separate from the person who abuses you temporarily before you can also come back to find a way to make the marriage work. It's not a do-or-die affair, I'm sorry to say. But the moment you find out that, like Emma said, when they slap you, retaliate, that can lead to battering, that can lead to other things, that can even lead to loss of life if you don't know. So let's be careful of what you say and what you preach. And for those who are talking about the light beating, I will also tell you that if you love someone, remember the Holy Book says that man should love a wife the way Christ loves the church, which is the head. If you love yourself and you love someone, you won't even think about beating anyone, even if it is lightweight or even a heavy way. You find a way, subtle way to settle and to have, your relationship move forward.
Well, Fina, the same Holy Book talks about if you love someone, you need to chastise the person.
Oh, chastisement doesn't mean beating the person.
I don't know what
it doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that,
how we interpret.
But truth of the matter is, I can never encourage beating anyone. I can never encourage abusing. Be it light one or heavy one. Don't do it.
It's a very sensitive topic, and yes, violence. I mean, the Holy Book, the Bible, condemns violence, but it also talks about chastisement. But I'm not sure it talks about chastising your partner.
Partner.
You might chastise
it's in the angle of whom you love.
Okay. And chastisement does not necessarily mean ifoti. Ifoti is slap, in English. It does not necessarily mean slapping or hitting. Okay. I'm just saying. You might tap.
Exactly.
Chastise with your words. There are many ways to chastise.
What I like in the
but it's funny. It's funny that the emir is encouraging his daughters to go violent. Now, you know what it is. You know what it feels like when a man feels. Unfortunately, even if the man raises his hands and then the woman slaps. There are cases where some men just gesticulate like, okay, I'm going to hit you, and then the woman gives them the slap. Boom. Women don't know how to hold back.
I think
it could be terrible. It could lead to further disaster.
Okay.
But
if it's not properly managed.
If it's not, of course,
I think what I like in all of this is the soft touch. Just the soft touch. Well, that's how far we can go. We go for a quick break, and when we come back, we look at the super headlines. Please stay with us. Don't go away.
Thank you so much for still being part of the show. Moving over to the National Daily, taking a quick peep on the cover page of the National Daily this morning. We have the Guardian newspaper, the Punch newspaper, the Nigerian Tribune, the Daily Trust, and a whole lot more. And then I would like to start off this morning from reading out the headlines that made it to the cover page of the Nigerian Tribune. The banner headline reads, Reps Southern Caucus backs tax reform bills. Riders, to that bold headline, says are ready for negotiation with northern lawmakers. With tax reform bills will do for Nigerians. What tax reform bills will do for Nigerians, I beg your pardon? Fiscal Responsibility Commission. Our stance aligns with Tinubu's vision that is coming from Ramfak. The story is on page 7 and page 8 of the Nigerian Tribune. And the winning headlines are, Tinubu appoints Ogunjimi, Acting Accountant General of the Federation. Court postpones Farotimi's bail application till December 20. Reps probe CBN over scarcity of Naira notes. The story is on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. And we have all the headlines that made it to the cover page of the Nigerian Tribune to be alleged 110 billion Naira fraud. Court remands Yahya Bello in Kuje prison. Adjourns case till January 2029. Nigeria recorded 467,000 tuberculosis cases in 2023. That is according to a report. Workers shut down Wike office nationwide over salary review, sacked staff. Workers shut down Wike offices nationwide over salary review, sacked staff. Sanwo-Olu inaugurates network of roads in Ikoyi. The story is on page 20 of the Nigerian Tribune. Tinubu inaugurates Immigration Innovative Complex, commends Tunji Ojo, says what was achieved on passport alone has given this country great reputation internationally, expresses pride at how NIS is emerging as frontline security outfit. And those are the stories you find when you flip through the pages of the Nigerian Tribune.
Right, let's go to the Guardian newspaper now. Cash scarcity worsens as banks upgraded digital platforms falter. And then some more headlines here. Court bail application. ASU strike. Students suspend planned protest. Issue 48-hour ultimatum. We also have cybercrime law, defamation, non-weapons of prosecution. NGE, Serap say. Consumers, NERC kick as Disco pushes for 240 kilowatts tariff. FG suspends energy tariff review as 4-month subsidy hits 768.68 billion naira. Tax reforms. Southern reps back Tinubu as stakeholders clash over VAT hike, economic impact. And then Tinubu commits to delivering promises, Lord's Interior Minister. Well, these are the headlines on the Guardian newspaper.
Oh, well, now let's quickly run through the Vanguard newspaper with the major headline. Nigerians groan as cash scarcity compounds hardship. With the riders, limited cash supply, low cash deposits cause rationing, say banks. Reps urge CBN to address cash crunch as economic hardship bites. Now, on top of the nameplate, you have PMI report, contraction of economic activities persist in November. That's according to the CBN. We also have other stories. 81-year-old treasurer of Okwama community dies in military custody. This is the second person that is dying in custody. The first person was their president general. Now, the 81-year-old treasurer of Okwama community dies in military custody. Very sad one. Alleged cyberbullying. Wike denied Farotimi bail. Now, netizens on board mainstream energy solutions on closed carbon, Nigeria's carbon registry. And that's all from the Vanguard newspaper. And that's how far we can go on newspaper headlines. Join Moses and I by 9 o'clock for a more expanded and extensive review of newspaper headlines. Now we'll go for a short break. And when we come back, we'll talk about Shettima criticizes UK Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch for denigrating Nigeria. Please stay with us, don't go away.
From the views on the streets
We go to bed empty hunger.
to the blaring horns of a hustling city, the loudest voices of the common man got a medium to be heard.
This particular administration, they were coming unprepared.
It's not a bad thing to renovate the president's lodge.
Through top-notch programming, unbiased reportage of news, sports, business, entertainment, and cultural documentaries. Voice of the People 90.3 FM became a symbol for 21st century media. And now, a new baby is born. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV, youthful, full of vigor and penchant for excellence in the continent's media space, exposing the wrongs, applauding the rights, dissecting the news without fear or favor, through factual and accurate stories and contents,
Corruption kills three things that makes a society.
representing the interests of the people and giving them a voice. Voice of the People TV is here to stay. towards building a fair society. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television, truly a voice for the people. Catch up with the latest topics making the buzz, the stories that tick, the trends. Let's let you in on why they are trending, from politics, entertainment, business, lifestyle, and more. Analyzing the trending stories with top eyeballs. Hashtag on Voice of the People Television, giving you an insight to everything and everyone Nigeria is talking about. Showing on VOP TV, 10 p.m. Monday to Friday. Hashtag if it's trending, we bring it on.
All right, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. If you just joined us, this is VOP this morning. And now let's get into the first major topic of discussion. Reactions have thrilled Nigerians following Vice President Kashim Shettima's comments on Kemi Badenoch, the newly elected leader of the UK's Conservative Party. Now, Shettima accused Badenoch of disparaging Nigeria, her country of origin, despite her rise to prominence. He defended Nigeria, calling it the greatest black nation, and emphasized its global significance, stating that by 2050, Nigeria will be the third most populous nation. Oh, well, many Nigerians, however, were critical of Shettima's defense, questioning how they could be proud of their country when leaders like Edo State Governor Mondo Okpebholo struggle with basic tasks. Now, a viral video showed Governor Okpebholo stuttering while pronouncing figures during the presentation of the state's 2025 budget, which sparked widespread mockery and concerns about leadership competence in Nigeria. Meanwhile, former Justice Amina Agui's comments on corruption within the Nigerian judiciary have also drawn reactions, with many questioning the integrity of the country's institutions. However, these stories from judiciary have been widely dismissed as false by the authorities in the judiciary. Oh, well, we have joined us in the studio this morning two lawyers, gentlemen, Barrister Darlington Agomo and Barrister Asim Adam. Gentlemen, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, Mr. Kuro.
Now, Barrister, all right.
Good morning to you.
Good to have you on the show. Barrister Asim, let me start with you. Let me come to you first. You heard what the is in an altercation, but the back and forth between Kemi made that statement, back in 2022, when she accused Nigerian leaders, of mismanaging funds. Now, the Vice President used the opportunity of the 10th Annual Migration Dialogue held in the State House, to call out Kemi, and even went as far as saying, you can as well remove Kemi from your name, And he made instances of migrants from all parts of the world who have made their host countries very proud. Now, my question is this. Where do we locate patriotism? At what point do we say that you are patriotic? Is it when you speak out against the ills that are afflicting your country, so that remediation could come forward, could come forth to you? Or is it when you hide these things and keep glowing even when you are dying inside? Please, can you help the average Nigerian, locate the bloodline between patriotism and perception and reality?
Thank you very much. Being patriotic is like having, strong love and feelings for your country. Having a bond, between a citizen and the country. But you find that patriotism is when you see things are going wrong in your country. You will not say because you are patriotic that you sweep those things under the carpet. That is the reason why you find out that even in our constitution, if you go to section 22 of the 1999 constitution as amended, it is explicitly clear and in lucid prose that, for instance, the media must hold the government accountable. That is, you have to open your mouth. When they are going backwards, you have to say something. It's only on patriotic citizens that we see things going bad and will not bother because they say, but it's my own business. If the country life, let the country go to the abyss. You're not patriotic. But when you are patriotic and you say, no, this is not right, I want Nigeria to be like the UK, where I am the chairman or whatever of the Conservative Party. I want Nigeria to be like America. Then let it be that the people from America want to travel down to a country in Africa called Nigeria on annual holidays, just as we flock to America and UK. Now, if you look at it, even positing this in my own little way, I understand. Dr. Gast, a poet, a philosopher, it's a German poet, philosopher and writer. He said the duty of the citizen is to open his mouth wide and talk to government where there are ills of government. That is what patriotism is all about. Patriotism is not keeping silent in the face of hostility, in the case of debauchery, in the case of malfeasance. And I want to say with due respect, before I conclude on this, you see what Kemi is talking about is this. If you look at, he has not said that Nigeria as a nation itself is a worthless nation. He never said so. He said the leadership mismanaging the team. And it goes to show what Ali Mazrui said, even far back in the 70s. Many people were not born by then, but he did a documentary where he came to Nigeria and Africa and said that Nigeria is a garden of Eden in decay. And today, in fact, it's not even garden of Eden in decay right now. Nigeria is a garden of Eden in destruction. It's destroyed already.
All right, Barrister Sim, this is a very interesting topic because there's a lot to talk about. Let's bring Barrister Agombo into this conversation. Now, Barrister Asim has located patriotism. I mean, if you see something is going wrong, you don't have to keep short. You have to say it. Now, I want you to, let's talk about what the president said, when he went to Brazil and said, look, things are not going well. We have insecurity, the economy is this and that, and called on Brazilians, to come help us. Now, a certain David Adeleke, popularly known as Davido, still went to the US and during a podcast said that Nigerian economy has tanked and that he discouraged African Americans from coming back to Nigeria to invest. Now, between those two people, where do we place patriotism and what Kemi said? Can you help us, unpack that distortion?
One of the hallmark of a patriotic leadership or citizen is love for the country. First, love for the country. And let me start by telling you why America became great today. After their civil war, there was no money to pay the soldiers who fought the war. And the soldiers became angry. They surrounded the Capitol Hill, the parliament, and said they are going to kill all the men there and then establish a monarchy that will be second to God. Because the politicians have failed them, they couldn't pay their salary and all that. And they said when they do that, they will now call George Washington to come and become the monarchy of monarchies. They surrounded the place and then called George Washington from his farm. Say, come, this is what we are trying to do. We want you to stand by. Immediately we finish with this guy, just take over. George Washington, the man who led even the war, told those soldiers that, look, I didn't fight the American war of independence just to become an absolute monarchy. With that statement, he turned back and went back to his farm. And America became what it is today, the greatest democracy in the whole world. Okay, let's bring it back. Now, please, how else can you define patriotism? Reverse it to Africa or Nigeria. If they are giving such an opportunity, Mr. Okoro, you don't need to be told what will happen. They will grab it with two hands without thinking of the implication, far-reaching implication. That is what has been the problem of Nigerian leadership. They don't do things for today, not thinking of tomorrow. Every one of them, except the First Republic leadership. Nigeria is where it is today because we have very corrupt plunderers.
Barrister Darlington, if you talk about the First Republic leadership, the people that struck on January 15, 1966, said that they were trying to remove the leaders because they were corrupt.
Because they were misled. They never knew. Okay, if you compare what Tafawa Balewa, Azikiwe, Awolowo and Co did during their time in the First Republic and what is going on now, please, are you not supposed to even go and beg and apologize to those people?
How do
So
we,
what is going on
Barcelona, how do we get it? How do we get to this point? You know, if I'm to ask, because from what you're just saying, it's more like the First Republic was more like a good one, and Nigeria was not, you know, this way from the time we gained our independence over 60 years ago. Now, how do we get to this point? And what do you think we can do for us to be able to mitigate
The
all
leader
this?
that followed after those ones, they were never patriotic. Please, can you look around to tell me one estate that Azikiwe owns? Nnamdi Azikiwe, the fourth president of this country. Just look around. Tell me one estate that belongs to him.
Do you know University of Nigeria?
He established it to...
Did you know UNN?
Yes, I know.
Did you know Zix Flats?
Zig what?
Flats.
Oh, no, please. Don't. He built it for a purpose. To redefine the dignity of man. He said it. That was the purpose of UNN.
No, I'm not talking about UNN.
He built those people. He built those flats for a purpose, not for a very selfish interest. Now, we are talking of somebody who built the 753 duplexes somewhere. What was and up to today, the EFCC doesn't know who owns it. Mr. Okoro, how do you define corruption and unpatriotism? Is it a small person that built that thing? The person that built that thing, is he patriotic? That is money they would have used to do so many things for your country. In 21st century, Kemi said that he had to travel 1 mile to get a portable drinking water. That's one word that lady said in the UK. 1 mile to get water in 21st century Nigeria. Please look around you, Lagos, the so-called commercial nerve center of Nigeria. Where is potable water? Every home is their own water corporation. Every home in this Lagos today. With all the money. Is that patriotism? Are you telling me that Nigeria does not have money to provide good education, good hospital, potable water? But this money is in the pockets of some people. That is the worst form of unpatriotism. Because you are doing this thing just to make the country look bad. That is it. If the leadership had been very patriotic, Mr. Okoro, we will not be where we are today. Whenever they want to steal money, they steal without conscience.
Barrister Darlington, are you now saying that our leaders are not aware of, some of these things that Kemi Badenoch also looked at when she made that statement of how the public figures are mismanaging public funds? Because if you check out what the vice president said, he said that even if Kemi can take out Kemi from her name, but that does not mean that her services will not be recognized. And also, he went for that to say she's entitled to her opinion. Now, with all the statement that Vice President Shettima made, now, are you saying that they are not aware of all the happenings? Or is it that they want us to progress in error because we want to be patriotic?
No, they know that they are the problem of Nigeria. At least, actually said it. They know. It's just that they don't want you to talk. Fina, somebody who is patriotic went outside this country and told terrorists to come into Nigeria. In a normal climate, those people should have been, in fact, they should have gone by now. What kind of power are you looking for? That you have to bring terrorists. When they are paid their money, say, come, jihad have started in Nigeria. Is that patriotism? You mean if somebody say it outside here, you start complaining?
But Barrister,
you are pointing at things that are going wrong.
Barrister, we know that in all the nations of this earth, if I'm to use that word, there's no place that is void of corruption. We know that they have corrupt practices in so many other places. Now, are you not saying that people coming up to throw or wash their dirty linen in public also is more like being patriotic?
Hey, God Almighty, please, can you hide a 6-month-old pregnancy? Please, when last did you hear that an American president is under the radar for corruption, for doing whatever and all that, all these things that people are doing here? When last did you hear that an American president used American money to go and buy a private presidential jet without approval from the Congress? In fact, they will impeach him that day. He can't even try it.
All right.
He can't try it.
Okay.
So what are you now saying? What did the chemists say wrong? When we have been living with this type of mentality.
All right.
They don't want you to say anything. They don't want you to talk.
Let me come in at this point. At some point in Nigeria, Buhari said something. He said Nigerian youths are lazy. And Nigerians basically called for his head on a platter. Was he wrong? If you juxtapose that with the the character traits of most Nigerian youths, especially at the time, excuse me please, especially at the time when Nigerian youths were more interested in quick money, getting themselves into fraud and other things. And then the president said, look, on an international stage, the Nigerian youths are lazy. Did he say something wrong at that time?
He was completely wrong. In fact, I wonder why.
Wasn't that patriotism? Wasn't he saying the truth at the time?
No, please don't say that.
Well, you are speaking from both sides of your mouth.
No, which both sides about where did the youth learn what he's doing? I told you here that
the fact that the youths are lazy is because they
are never lazy. Look, Nigerian youth are the greatest in the whole world. What they are tolerating and enduring here, no other youth in any clan will take it. They saw what their leaders are doing, stealing money that belongs to them, stealing their heritage, stealing their destiny. And they keep quiet, tolerating them. Are you telling me that such youth should not be praised? I told you here that it is the society that prepares the
but so we're talking about the president speaking in the premise of Nigerian youths wanting things given to them on a platter.
Come on. What are you even giving them?
That was basically
Mr. Okoro, please ask Moses, what are you giving Nigerian youth?
No, Barrister, we're asking you the question.
No, hold on.
I wonder why you're asking
This same Nigerian youth, please, somebody should help me here. This same Nigerian youth, they succeeded through self-effort. The government does not care about them. The government does not provide anything for them. They struggle from cradle to...
That self-effort, Barrister, has come from, cybercrime.
Who told you that?
I'm just saying, Barrister.
No, please don't go there.
Some of that self-effort
don't go there. Okay, who told them?
Online dating.
It is a lie.
Has also
it is a lie. Moses is a lie. If you compare what the leaders have done, and what you accuse this youth of doing, in fact, the youth should be praised.
Well, nobody
is doing reparation. Hold on, let us compare notes. Hold on.
Nobody is holding brief for the leadership
I know, but
in the country.
The
but what we
person
are saying is, the words of Buhari at the time, was he wrong?
I told you he's wrong, and I'm giving you my own analysis on it. These youths you are accusing of so many things. Are they not the one that have tolerated you, allowed you to steal their future, their destiny, and put it in your pocket? In other clans, the youth will not tolerate what Nigerian youth are tolerating. Who told them what they? Who taught them? Mention one Nigerian youth. You are accusing them of stealing money, doing this cyber crime and all that. Yahoo. Mention one Nigerian youth that have stolen 1 billion naira in any bank and is still in Nigeria to enjoy the money. Okay. But look at your leader. They are stealing trillions now.
All right. But
Moses, their leaders are stealing trillions now.
All right.
So who have arrested and accused them? They are even praising them. So don't go there. Don't go to Nigerian youth. They are tolerating you.
All right. Thank you, Barrister Darlington. Let's bring in Barrister Asim here. You see, this whole conversation, if you ask me, centers around managing information. How do we manage our information, so that we don't look more like trying to wash our dirty linens outside, so that, like the Vice President said, that Kemi denigrated Nigeria by speaking evil of Nigeria. There's this word that see no evil, hear no evil, and speak no evil. Now, I want us to travel to China. China is a closed country. It's a closed economy. They know how to manage their information. It's not just about managing their information. It's even a law to give us certain information regarding what goes on in China. And let's look at COVID-19. When COVID-19 broke out from China, they tried to, despite the fact that they were dying in their numbers, the authority, the state in China, made sure that information didn't spill out. At that point, how do we define it? Is it patriotism or what is it? Can you help us understand? We are still looking for that bloodline, that fine line between what is patriotic and what is not. And at what point, should we say, this is who we are, this is what we are?
See, I don't know how to define patriotism more than what I have said, that it's love for your country, that is, you love your country and you respect your country, and so if you see any bad thing in your country, you have to open your mouth and talk about it. If you see good things in your country, you also appreciate those who have done good. Now, comparing Nigeria with other nations of the world, very happy that we talk about China. Do you know that a lot of people don't understand that corruption has been endemic And corruption has been the major problem of Nigeria
Exactly.
till today. I wrote my Wike or WASC in 1982. One of the questions that was asked from the old question paper when I was trying to review papers for my Wike exam, is still embedded on my score. He says, corruption is a cankerworm that has eaten deep into the fabric of the nation called Nigeria and discussed 30 marks. That was 1975 and 1976. Why? A question. I fell into that particular, it was called composition at that time, English composition. Now, when I was doing my review, my father had said, go and get old Wike papers from 1970, 71 to 1982 when I wrote. I stumbled on it and said, corruption is a cankerworm that has eaten deep into the fabrics of the nation called Nigeria. I wrote my Wike in 1982. Now, what am I trying to say? I also read a book written by Chinua Achebe. I've read all his books. But the one that took me that most Nigerians neglect, they would look at things fall apart as the only one. He said the problem with Nigeria. See, go and pick that book written by Chinua Achebe. He highlighted the indices and indicators of why Nigeria, as at that time, was and is still where we are today. In the sense that one, he talked about corruption, monumental corruption. He talked about ethnicity. He talked about these malfeasance. He talked about nepotism. And all these indicators that he highlighted are still present today. In China, for instance, I'm coming.
I understand you. Sorry,
in China,
hold your line of thought, please. Hold your line of thought. We know all of these things.
Yes.
The question is, at what point should we tell the world that this is how bad, how corrupt we are? And if we do that, are we being patriotic or unpatriotic?
Now, if you tell the world how bad you are, then it is sting on the leadership that when they travel and people look at them with scorn and disdain, then you find that when he comes back to Nigeria, his home country, he will try and perfect and do things right so that when he travels to Germany the next time, people will receive him with open hands.
So essentially, you agree with Kemi.
I agree with Kemi.
Disagree with
Let me tell you, I agree with Kemi. Let me tell you something. You know, he got to a point, you mentioned China, he got to a point that in those days, when you have an electrical product and you say this is Chinese product, please don't bring Chinese product here. They say it's fake. China and Taiwan were known for making fake materials. They were associated. It was a bad image. And this was getting back to the government and manufacturers in China that, look, anything you manufacture and you sell to the outside world, they call it bad or fake. They now went back and said, this is a bad image for the country. They sat down and they now strategized. Today, most of the things you take are they not from China? That is the same way I want Nigeria. When we begin to tongue lash them and link lash them, when we put them in that particular position, then you will not be ashamed to not go out. Now you now say, let me do well. So that when I move out of my country, or even within my country, people will do what? Praise me. For instance, finally on this, look at a man like, Jonathan. A good luck Jonathan. Jonathan steps out of Nigeria today to UK. Nigerians will surround him and hug him. The reason was because he did, to those people, he did very well. Okay. And we saw it. But a leader, like some of the pastors, I don't want to call their names, some of them will go to UK, they will stone them. Yes. Because they did bad. So we must have to open the cankerworm. You see, there's no to hide, this what was against the business.
All right, before I come to you, let's have a video of what the Vice President said yesterday so that the viewer at home can make good sense of what is happening or what the Vice President said. Let's put it up there so that we can listen to it.
The co-founder of Facebook was Eduardo Luis Sabirin, born in Sao Paulo, Brazil, of Jewish Brazilian ancestry. Chief executive of News Corp is of Australian descent. Madeleine Albright, who became the United States Secretary of State, was of Czech origin. Steve Chen, the co-founder of YouTube, is originally from Taiwan. Immigrants build nations and immigrants build civilizations. One of the men in the front seat here has a thriving business in Namibia. He lived in Australia for over a decade, adding value to the Australian economy. Hence, there is a need for us to respect and cherish immigrants. Migrants are the source of life in all societies. Rishi Sunak, the former British Prime Minister, is originally from India. A very brilliant young man. He never denigrated his nation of ancestry, nor poured venoms on India. Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the British Labour or Conservative Party. We are proud of her, in spite of her efforts at denigrating her nation of origin. She is entitled to her own opinions. She has even every right to remove the Kemi from her name. But that does not underscore the fact that the greatest black nation on earth is the nation called Nigeria. 1 out of every 3-4 black men is a Nigerian. And by 2050, Nigeria will surpass the United States, will be the 3rd most populous nation on earth. 1 out of every 3 black men will be a Nigerian.
That was the Vice President speaking, at the 10th annual migration dialogue, where he called out and made mention of other, nationals who did well, for their host countries. Now, Barrister Darlington, before I come back to you, let's bring in our correspondent at Abuja, Chuka Chukudile. Let's have Chuka. Good morning.
Good morning from Abuja. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Chuka, good to have you here. How is Abuja?
Very well, thank you. Very well.
Okay, very well. Is the Hamatan breeze blowing there? Quick one.
It is. Very
I hope
well,
you're enjoying it.
Beautiful here, beautiful.
Now, let's get into it. The Vice President yesterday is talking about Kemi, should probably remove her name, Kemi, which is a Nigerian name, and the whole discussion is about how migrants, have helped their host countries to progress. What's your reaction to what the Vice President said? And can you walk us through the reaction of people in Abuja? How are people in Abuja reacting, to the Vice President's comments yesterday?
Mr. Chukuma, I think Ms. Kemi Badenoch, she's entitled to her opinion, and might have made that statement in good faith, not expected this much backlash, but apparently it seems that the statement has not come out well for her, for a lot of migrants and Nigerians who feel that she's taking a swipe at her nationality and ethnic background. And if you can be more Pope than more Christian than the Pope kind of situation. So well, she has a reason. She definitely has reasons why she feels like migrants, that the UK should no longer welcome migrants. I don't know why she's supporting such a move. But then for the Vice President also to have come out to take a swipe at her, it also goes to show that it's Nigeria is not just a country or or the black race is not just a race whereby you just you take for a walk down the park. We need to stand up for it. Even though we have lots of inefficiencies and inconsistencies, it's still mandatory. You stand bold and say, yes, this is who I am, this is who we are, and not whimper to the whims and caprices of the white folk. But for the Vice President, he has a very good he made a very good speech there. But then I feel also we, the nation as a whole, our leaders need to do better so that such situations like this, whereby a migrant who grew up here and who's left in a different nationality would not take a swipe at the country. Because if the country was functioning, I think it was really going well. And
just the way you said that the Vice President made a good statement, do you think we should continue seeing for grace to abound? More like Nigerians should look away from the activities of the leaders and then be speaking good about the country to project it and make it look like what it's not. Is that what you're saying we should do at this point in time?
First, can you repeat your question, please? What did you say?
I say that, do you think, as the case may be, because you're talking about how the words of the Vice President is in good faith, and I ask, should we continue seeking for grace to abound? More like looking away from all the mismanagement of public funds that our politically elected leaders, some of them, have been indulging in, just because we want to project the nation to be what it is not. I'm talking about in the international space now.
Yeah, the truth of the matter is we need to say it as it is. Bearing whose ox is God, we need to say it as it is. Our leaders have really been a disappointment, and if we all this way, I think Nigeria will be one of the greatest countries in the world. It's unfortunate that we've had to go this low, and if Nigeria was a functioning country, I'm so sure the Kemi will still be back in Nigeria here doing that thing, living a normal life. I really doubt she'll be in the UK if Nigeria was a functioning country. So this is part of the issues, we're talking about. It's sad that
we'll make Nigerians who wanted to leave, the Jabba syndrome now. Do you think that her statement will affect them? Remember, she made that statement in 2022, and she was also being elected under the UK's Conservative Party this year. Do you think that statement in any way would have, make some Nigerians who have interest of leaving the country not to be able to get to their, the destination that they have?
Just a political statement that she made, it's all part of the whole furrow, to stir up the waters and everything. I don't think anything is going to really happen anytime soon. If it is going to, it will just have tried to make a statement for herself, and she has done that convincingly well. Everybody knows who she is now, I think it's going to affect Nigerians or migrants who want to move to the UK. The migrant process is still going to be as it has been all this while, until maybe when she now becomes PM, then she can move the law and the bill and it's passed in the House, then who knows. But until then, I think it should just be normal, regular business as usual.
But please, hang on. We'll come back to you in due time. Now, let's come back to the studio. Barrister Darlington, Vice President said that Nigeria is the giant of Africa and that by 2050, will become the most populous country in Africa. Do you believe that Nigeria is still the giant of Africa? I mean, our GDP is #1. We just talked about yesterday was Human Rights Day, and Nigeria scored 120 over 140. When you look about the Fragile States Index, Nigeria is not doing well. When you look at the number of multidimensionally poor people, Nigeria has 133 million people out of estimated 220 million population. And we have a prediction that if we don't take quick action, that by 2025, June 2025, 130 million people will be exposed to acute hunger. Do you still agree with the Vice President that Nigeria is the giant of Africa?
I don't agree. And like they normally say in street parlance, I get them before no be property. Soviet Union used to be a behemoth until they discovered that communism and socialism cannot help their economy. When people were queuing up to get bread and all that. And now they had a leader who had foresight. And I know if Gorbachev did not do what he did in Soviet Union, by now, Soviet Union would have disintegrated. In fact, there would have been war. But the man introduced a glasnost and perestroika to save Soviet Union from itself. So all this noise about population or no population, look, if you cannot take care of your population, it may result to revolution. Go and ask Soviet Union. Go and ask French. What happened to them when their leaders were behaving as if they are God? So what Shettima is saying, he's just trying to...
Mr. Darlington, I hope you are not calling for a revolution.
Oh my God. I am giving you an example of what happened somewhere.
You said if we don't take...
Yes, because that is all the signs are there. What caused this in this other country I mentioned? Was it not when people were disgruntled, when there was nothing to eat, when there was hunger? You remember the French woman was told that there is no bread for French people. He said, if you people cannot get bread, now go and eat a cake. They said, so this is what you are telling us. And the rest is history. So go and check anywhere in the world. What causes problem is what? Hunger and neglect to the people. So if Shettima does not take care of this so-called population he's talking about, they will say to your tents, oh Israel, that's what I want to advise him.
All right then.
Because we have been living in food paradise for a long time. That is why this poverty have increased.
All right then.
If only these leaders are patriotic, Mr. Okoro, do you think Nigeria will be where it is? Look at the land God gave us. Look at the mineral resources, the natural resources. What are these leaders doing with it? Except to plunder and plunder and plunder. And you are telling us with the
we agree on one thing.
It's not about population. It's about quality citizenship.
Barrister, thank you very much. We agree on one thing. We agreed to the fact that leadership has been poor. Nigerians have suffered as a result of the leadership of Nigeria. We agree that Kemi Badenoch spoke some truth. Mm-hmm. And it might have impacted negatively on the image of Nigeria. Barrister, let me come to you on this one.
Okay.
Now, Barrister Asin. Yes, Barrister Asin. Let me come to you on this one.
Please remember that a former British Prime Minister told us in their own country, when one of them came for conference, that Nigerians are leadership. He didn't say Nigerians. He said yes. Nigerian leaders are fantastically corrupt.
Yes.
Please, why didn't anybody take what's his
when name? Nigerians reacted,
reaction? Did this solve the problem? Did this solve the problem?
But Barrister,
yes.
Now we understand what Nigerians are going through. Yes, the leadership is being pointed at here, but the people take the toll because we see how those with Nigerian passports are treated when they step out, when they try to leave the country. We see them being asked to step aside and treated less than those carrying passports of other countries, even Togo. All right? But let's look at Nigeria's social media presence. At what point do we say, look, don't speak ill about your country? At what point do we tell ourselves, to be patriotic? Because on social media, because Nigerians are aggrieved, and nobody's going to blame them for it, they rarely have anything good to say about the country, but we are stuck here. A lot of us are stuck here with nowhere to go. Even those that go abroad always find a way to come back home, at one point or the other. At what point do we say, look, enough is enough? What can we do differently? How can we project the image of this country differently?
That is what I was expecting the vice president to have done. Instead of, spotlighting, Kemi Badenoch, because she's one of the lights of Nigeria. If you begin to attack people like this, Davido, etc., as the rest, those who are supposed to portray us outside of this country, they feel worse in their situation. In situations like this, what I felt was that they would have reached out to her. Please, what exactly is you are one of our spotlights. You understand the point? How do we, get a better Nigeria? Can you come and partner with us? Let us see if we can go. Let me give for an example. Do you know that Jamaica, many people, even up to today, when you mention the name Jamaica, they look at one thing people spoke. They say, oh, Rastafarians. Jamaica was noted or known for things that concerns issues of Rastafari and maybe marijuana. I'm sorry, open and close. That is how we say it. When you say Jamaica, people say, that guy is a Rastafari, it's this, Bob Marley and the rest. But consciously, this was affecting the nation called Jamaica. They sat down and said, no, this is not the only people we have here. The Rastafarians are just part of our own and whatever. Let's sit down and consciously, remake
But
Jamaica.
officials, sorry to butt in at this point, officials of NIDCOM contacted her office and there was no response.
It has to be a conscious effort. I was going somewhere close. Then they started bringing people like, this athlete they call Usain Bolt.
Yes.
Usain Bolt was homegrown.
Exactly.
Usain Bolt was given American citizenship, but he got it and he said, no, I still love my Jamaica. So the country was supporting and government was supporting. Look at this man that plays for West Ham. I'm sorry I'm mentioning these football clubs' names. Antonio Mikel that had an accident. He's a Jamaican a player. The government is supporting and using him to promote Jamaica. For instance, whenever they finish their games, they wear their Jamaican flag around them and begin to go around. But people don't know where they come from. Same with Colombia. If you call the country called Colombia today, the next thing that comes to your mind is drug,
cocaine,
about cartel. That was bad image. But this was sat down and said, no. One of the richest men is from that area. He said, you can't begin to dirty my. What do we do? Let's partner with clean Colombians and whatever, and let's rebuild Colombia. That is what the vice president should have done. He engaged in what I call sophism. And that is pure sophistry that he did. In his innermost consciousness, the VP, with due respect to him, knows that what Badenoch said was the truth. But because of sanctimonious platitudes like pastors do in the pulpit to assuage the feeling of people, he came out to make those statements. Now, what the government should do is to network people like that. Now, how many people know that even Elon Musk is from South Africa?
South Africa.
You understand? He has not thrown away his South African background. He stays in the US. But when it gets to a point in time they want to showcase and spotlight South African and whatever, they bring him. You understand? Yeah. They have to lobby him. They talk to him and say, look, Nigeria as a nation is growing. That is what I thought the president would have done. It's not just meeting one, write a letter. No, not that. You can visit him. You begin to consciously educate her. This is the good things we are doing. This is what we are doing. From there, she will not begin to have a change of mind. She does not hate the country. Okay. But the only thing she's not happy about is the leadership and whatever that we have. Right. And finally, on my own, because I want to chip in this. Okay. On the issue of population, that the vice president said, see, we keep boasting with population. What is population without progression?
I wonder.
You understand? What is all this thing? What are someone saying? The economists, what they say all this thing. Let me give you an example quickly. China, USA, Brazil, Indonesia, India. They have populations almost twice the one we have in Nigeria today. But the reason why these countries are doing very, very well, because they have harnessed the potentials of their population and also the land mass they have to do to production. And that is why they are where they are today. Right. Nigeria is not utilizing its population. Rather, is growing in geometric progression, but you see growth of development is in arithmetic progression. That's where we have a problem.
All right, thank you.
So we must have to differentiate. This people should not take us to a right. We have people, intellectuals and intelligentsias in Nigeria here that can run this country better. Right. It's not some people just come in and to play this charade that is sickening.
Okay, thank you, Barrister Asim. Like I said, this conversation is ongoing. It's a debate, But I hope that at one point we'll be able to locate what patriotism is and means.
We have already
we locate it. Yes.
I mean,
for them, let them locate it. Not us.
Permit me to put you on the spot.
Okay,
at this moment. Okay. You are from Edo State. Yesterday, your governor presented the budget. You suspected it. Okay. So I'm predictable now. Yeah. Now, yesterday, your governor, Monday, presented the 2025 budget to the State House of Assembly. Yes. And we all know how the thing went down. Some people have come out to say it was doctored. Was it actually doctored? What's your reaction?
I have the two versions of the video.
Okay, sorry, before you go on, let's have a video of it. Let's have a video of what went down yesterday.
$605 billion, 76 million, 76, let me take it again, 506 billion, 605 billion, sorry, 776 billion, sorry, It's confusing me. Okay. Since the Edo State 2025 budget.
Can I, yes, you heard it.
Yes,
you heard what your governor said.
I heard it.
Yes, it's confusing.
Yes,
Now, while you react, I also want you to let us understand.
Jesus.
Should we actually use this to assess him? Yes. Should it be a measure of assessment? I mean, leaders have stuttered, Even presenters do make mistakes,
Yes.
Even presidents, while addressing their nation, make mistakes. So should we actually use this little, I will call it little mistake, to assess him?
You see, for me, I've got a lot of calls yesterday. Some thought I was in Edo State or maybe Kotago. Some of my very good friends, both Nigeria and outside, they were just, it was a boat of a comic, whatever as the case may be. But there's something I always tell them. I say, let me tell you, you see, this particular Okpebolo matter is something that we know before now. Most of us, or some of us from that state, knew that he had this deficiency. He might not be fluent in English, as the case may be, but at the point in time, supposedly, he won the elections in Edo State. As it is today, he's my governor. I respect him. But for me, whether to judge him and performance with what he has come up to, I don't think it's a yardstick for me to judge him.
But Barrister Asim, how possible is it that a governor who this is a budget we're talking about,
That's right.
He penned down this budget because he knows what he wants from Edo people and what he's going to give to them. How can he come up to say that the whole budget, which he himself wrote, is confusing him?
No, he said, I'm not trying to defend him. He said the numbers, that is the billions, billions. Even let us be very frank with ourselves. You see, a lot of us who are public speakers, before I became a public speaker, that I can speak confidently on radio and television, as case may be, I stuttered.
Sorry,
there's a reason. I'm coming. I'm losing.
Don't lose.
Because
He's
been dismembered.
Your governor served as a senator, so you have to factor that in. When you're talking about public,
he has masters.
See,
he has masters.
That is it. Please let me just come up to this because you asked me a question.
Yeah.
It's not based on his performance. If his performance based, for me, I don't think this is a yardstick for judging his performance because I have studied what he has done in the 2 weeks or 3 weeks he's been in government. I know projects he has initiated. Oh, these projects are very wonderful ones in Edo State. For me, who come from that state, a particular one is that Oba Hill, flyover that they are working on right now. I'm not here to launder his image. He does very well. It's okay. He's a senator. Even when he was a senator, representing his own, senatorial district, the young man was a very benevolent, person, very altruistic. He's somebody that was populist oriented.
Okay.
But on the area of education, he has limitations. But the limitations also were not a factor when he now became governor of the state because the Constitution of Nigeria is the one that gives, the room for people like this to come into power. That is the Constitution now look at that, not qualification, not PhD. They don't want philosopher kings to become governors or president. That is why in section 177, the Constitution is very explicit there. It says that citizens of Nigeria, 35 years old, WASC or its equivalent. That is what you need to have. So if we want to erase situations of this situation and have people like this back in the world situation again, then we have to maybe amend that particular section 177 to say that for you to become governor, you must have a first degree or a PhD in whatever you are doing.
Okay.
That is number 2.
Barrister, we are pressed for
for
time. So we may not allow you go all the way. I know there's a lot you want to say.
I wanted to say a lot of things because you see this thing has brought my state into a kind of
yes. But should we expect more?
Even back in Zoo of Kano, that's how we did all those things.
Barrister Asim.
Yes.
Well, we also know that during the campaign, he made a few gaffes.
Absolutely.
Where he said, I will give you insecurity.
Yes.
Yeah, he said a few things.
Of course.
Now, I personally don't have a problem with this error because it could be that the figure was not written out in numbers.
In words.
If it were to be, be rewritten in words, he might have flowed.
Maybe, yes.
So I will forgive him.
Like me, I was asking, I'm sorry for me to go in. There was a day I was talking, my car, somebody asked me, okay, please, can you send me your vehicle particular number? I don't even know what my number, the plate number was. You understand? A car be drive for close to 6 years.
But the question I want to ask is,
I couldn't give it out. I said, well,
the question I want to ask
I have
now,
problem with numbers.
The question I want to ask now borders on performance, really.
Okay, yes.
Should public office holders, especially those that may not have, the gift of the gab, should they be compelled to speak in public, or should we just allow them do their job? There are people that work perfectly in quiet, speak to the cabinet and all of that, but they cannot express themselves in public. Should they be judged on that premise?
See, for me, like one musician, a very great musician we have in Nigeria, we say, grammar is not success. I remember that particular whatever. He's a Nigerian musician, well known in Nigeria today. If people know his name, he said he made a gaffe, and he said when they started, he said grammar is not a success. Okay. Same thing for me. Grammar is not, how will I put it, not success in governance.
Okay.
There are those who are so proficient in economy and whatever as the case may be, they do very well, but they don't even know how to speak or write as the case may be. My own mother lately, my late mother, was a stark illiterate, but she was a very robust businesswoman in my own town. Mm-hmm. She calculates figures. You tell her she knows what and what to calculate in thousands as the case may be. She was very proficient in business, but she cannot write those things and translate into written English and spoken words. So this should not be yardstick, in my own opinion. But what he did and the advice I gave to him on the popular platform I belong to for the Edo people is this: do not bring us to this kind of blockade and disrepute this time. What I want you to do, Mr. Governor, my own governor, is this: next time the Constitution says the governor should present, the governor means either you or your deputy governor. Okay. Now, what you need to do is that since you have this inadequacy, even in the Bible, Moses was a stammerer. You understand? He was a stammerer. So, but you can delegate some of these functions to your deputy to present, so that you don't have to bring yourself to this whole problem in the public as case may be. It's affecting all of us, but we know you will do well.
Thank you very much, Barrister Asim. It would be a nice place to wrap up this particular conversation. Now we'll go for a short break. And when we come back, we talk about Atiku'S camp and APC at each other's jugular again. Please stay with us, don't go away. All right, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Now, the camp of former Vice President Atiku has accused the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, and the Presidency of using the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Wike, to destabilize and weaken the People's Democratic Party, the PDP. Atiku'S media aide Paul Ibe claimed that Wike's role within the PDP is to erode the party's strength, making the opposition of the APC untenable. Making the opposition to the APC untenable. Now, Ibe emphasized that APC is using Wike as a tool to escalate internal crises within the PDP and even other opposition parties like the Labour Party. Oh well, Tony Cole added that Wike's alleged influence over judiciary, especially his involvement in a National Judicial Council event, despite accusations of bribing judges, is deeply troubling. However, in a counter-response, the National Publicity Director of the APC, Bala Ibrahim, dismissed these allegations. questioning the logic behind deploying Wike to weaken a party that is already in turmoil. Ibrahim pointed out that Wike has not publicly aligned himself with the APC and is still a member of the PDP. Well, he argued that the issues within the PDP are of their own making and that the APC has more pressing matters to address than trying to manipulate Wike. More so, here's from Wike's video where he welcomed the president of Germany, Frank-Walter Shettima, to Nigeria has sparked reactions as many Nigerians alleged that he looked pale and drunk. We still have in the studio two gentlemen, two lawyers, Barrister Darlington Agomo and Barrister Asin Adam. Gentlemen, thanks for staying with us. And we also still have our correspondent in Abuja, Chuka Chukudile. Chuka, thanks for staying with us. Now, Barrister Darlington, let me come straight to you. APC and Atiku'S camp at each other's throat, jugular, trying to. Can you help? What's happening? What's going on? Is it about opposition not being effective, or is it about people, who have served in government before trying to use the plank of the opposition, like Atiku'S is doing, to wrest power from the ruling party? How do you look at this? What's going on between the two camps?
APC is G3. That is the only way to define what they are doing. They are
APC?
G3. APC is G3. As I talk to you now, they are G3 from their own count. Because they have seen that they have not performed. And anybody can use that incompetence to undo them. And so they don't want you to even point out their ills. It is incumbent on the opposition to begin to highlight this thing so that the public will know better. It's not enough for your tribune to tell her that he wants an inclusive government, and that's why they appointed Wike. No. If you are trying to be funny, somebody needs to call you out. Wike is not doing the role of an inclusive member of a government. Because what he's doing is to destabilize a party that made and created him. If not for PDP, nobody would have heard of Wike now. Nobody. I was thinking that Wike should have looked from that angle before all this is doing. And to make matters worse, the president just looked at the other side.
Sorry, Barrister Gomo,
yes.
PDP used to pride itself as the biggest party, the largest political party in Africa. How would they allow one man to destabilize it?
When somebody is behind you, when you have a federal power behind you, Mr. Okoro, you can do and undo. For example, hold on. What Wike is doing now, let us call a spade here. If not for the federal might behind him, will Wike even try 1/4 of what he's doing?
How has he used the federal might?
Is Wike the only minister?
How has he used the federal might?
Because the president have refused to rein him in. When the president called a sitting governor in Rivers State and brought a minister and begin to make peace with them in Asoro, what does that tell you? You are even boosted his ego.
Barrister
Darlington, the president should have told Wike, please, if you don't want to remain in that, you can leave.
How G3 do you think the APC is with Senator George Akume telling Atiku yesterday that they should wait until 2031 for PDP to contest? Because he said that Tinubu will be the president of Nigeria come 2027. Are they really G3, or is it a case of a political party displaying its power and its might?
I just told you why they are G3. Incompetent, non-performance, corruption.
All right, let me take you up on that.
Bad economy.
Let me take you up on that, please. You say the APC is G3, but then we've seen Labour Party, how reps members from the Labour Party defect into the APC. We've seen about 5 or 6 of them now that have defected to the APC, out of 26 actually, in the House of Reps, 24. I think that's 24. Now, if 6 or 5 have defected to the APC, do you think your representatives believe that they're not performing, and are they really G3?
APC is G3. Those people that defected, they are violating our constitution. Section 109 is clear. It's just that people are sleeping on their rights. If the people concerned have taken this matter up, maybe this matter would have ended. The one in Rivers State now is neither here nor there. Why have they not taken action on those matters? It's because they cannot redefine the constitution and what it says about defection. So you cannot use such things to compare. I have told you why APC did it. They have not performed, both from state to federal level. They have not. The only thing that is going for them is the power of the purse which they have. They use it to buy vote. We saw it in Edo, my friend's state. They use it, even the governor you were talking about, you saw how the governor came in. That is what happens when you do not give the people their real leader. When you appoint leader for people. I know how Agbabelo became the governor of Edo State. He was never the original candidate. He was never. Oshomolo was speaking for him all through the campaign. Right. Okay. So what I'm saying is that APC, look, opposition had to bring out all the ills of APC and present it before the public so that it will be a campaign issue. Okay. Then. So those people that are defected, it's not that they believe that APC is the ruling party, therefore they can get crumbs from the master's table.
All right then. Okay.
Nothing else.
Well, that's your take on it. Barrister Sim Adams. Yeah, I can see you disagreeing with a few things, especially when he said Okwebolo is not the original. You know,
I don't want to. That's a discourse for another day.
You have to be very careful so that we don't go back to your governor.
Well, you might want to react. You might want to react to that.
So that Edo, let us leave Edo for that.
All right then. But now he's also saying that those that have defected from the Labour Party and the PDP to the APC are breaking the constitution. What should the Labour Party do? We hear them spitting fire that, look, these people have done wrong, but what should they do? We have Tochukwu Okere from Imo State, defected from Labour to APC. Yes. Matthew Donatus from Kaduna.
Your Kaduna rider.
No, that one is from Taraba.
Basi Akiba, Esosa.
Of
Iyawe from Edo State.
From Edo State.
Yeah. Basi is from Cross River State.
Ibori's daughter.
And Ibori's daughter from the PDP. From the Labour Party too. So what should their parties do to ensure that maybe sanity is brought back? Or are they going to lose their seats?
You see, this is a topic I discussed about 3 days ago. And I spoke about the dismembering and butchering of the Nigerian Constitution.
Sure.
To an extent
very, very sad.
that it is aided by those who ought to protect it.
I'm telling you.
Now, let me tell you, before I'll answer your question. Now, people defected. I was expecting to see that Ugochinyere, who has been vocal in the Rivers affair of defection, should have raised an alarm like he did in the house. Because this is happening in his own or before his koro eyes, as we normally say. Now, what am I trying to say? Section 68, sub 1G, is the same thing as section 109, sub 1G. 68 is for House of Senate and House of Reps. Why? 109G is for speakers, the House of Assemblies of the state. Now, coming to where I am, it has further raised a fundamental, argument of the predatory nature of politicians. In Nigeria today, the Nigerian political parties practice football, tactics. An own goal is not disallowed because it's an own goal. An own goal is not disallowed. People jubilate when you score yourself, you see the opponent jubilating. That is what happens here in Nigeria today. Now, what am I talking about? Now, what has happened is that under our constitution, there's this argument that the moment you cross carpet or you defect, and that particular defection notice comes to the Speaker of the House of Reps in this case, that your seat automatically becomes vacant. Is that not what they said? They said it's self-executory. But in Nigeria today, it is no longer self-executory. It is self-discretionary. In the sense that it is the Speaker that will now decide whether to make a pronouncement and declare those seats vacant or not. In Rivers State, a Speaker uses his discretion and say, these people are no longer members of the Parliament. And that has raised eyebrows here and there. But in the case of these people that are defected from House of Reps some days ago, the Speaker uses his discretion and did not declare their seat vacant. So the legal lacuna and where the philosophy and jurisprudence of Section 109G or whatever 68G, 1G is now, is where the courts, I'm asking the courts now to now determine if those sections are self-executory. Does he have to wait for the Speaker of House of Reps or the House of Assembly to make that pronouncement before the seats of those who defected become vacant? This is what the judicature should decide. But this has bring, a mesophilic, lagophobic, contraption and contrition. It's not a conundrum in Nigeria today. Because from what happened at the National Assembly, if any member of Edo House of Assembly should defect now to be maybe the APC, as case may be, and the Speaker of the House of Assembly of Edo State feel that, they are coming to my party's and own goal, let's celebrate it. What is going to happen is that he will not make a pronouncement to declare his seat vacant, and they begin to conduct affairs in the House of Assembly. Is that proper? That is the question we are asking.
But they cited crisis in the party. They cited crisis within the leadership of the party. They don't have enough reason.
Without wasting time, the Supreme Court, in their Bengudes case, the locus classicus on this, made it succinctly clear. It was not verbose. It was not something that was empty. It was not a thing that was hollow or ambiguous. They made it clear, said that division in the party, as referred to in the Constitution, is that the party PDP, the party APC, the party Labour Party has gone into oblivion. It's no longer in existence. That when you go around the country, you will not see the secretariat of the PDP. You will not even see the chairman of PDP, because they are all melted or maybe metamorphosed or coalesced, to another party by osmotic pressure from the other, whatever. So a PDP is no longer in existence. Labour Party. So when they say that the party is, that is what the Supreme Court said. So when you say because of a Labour Party, Abure is still the chairman. Labour Party still has a secretariat, even in Lagos State here, even in Rivers State, even in Abuja. And they still have officials who are running. They may be having one or two issues with leadership in the court, but the court has not even made final pronouncement. And even at that, this is the situation. That is what the Supreme Court said. So that is an argument that is neither here nor there. It's chikwata, like I normally say. So these are the things we need to do. And the nation called Nigeria, political whatever, because they always blame judicature. How come now that the Speaker of the House of Reps refused to declare those seats vacant? Has he not breached that constitution that he swore to uphold? If truly that section 68 sub 1G, is self-executory, has he not breached it? And those members sitting in the House, are they doing the House of Legislating or pepper souping and jollofing? That is what we want to know, without people even raising an eyebrow. It's a question that needs urgent answer.
All right, Barrister Asim, thank you so much for that in-depth analysis. Now, let's get Chuka Chukwudile into this conversation. He's our correspondent from VOP Television Abuja Station. Chuka, what do you really make of this? How possible is it that a particular individual, I'm talking about FCT Minister, Nyesom Wike, can hold weight to the point that, the People's Democratic Party and other opposition party can see his fang, according to what he says, in destabilizing the party and making it to be weak? Do you think it is possible?
Thank you, Fina. The PDP has been in crisis ever since the last presidential primaries, which Alhaji Atiku'S emerged the winner. And so who was runner up at the primaries, I think it just goes to show that I remember before the primaries, he made lots of statements about being loyal to the party, about supporting whoever wins, about and almost all statements he made, he went completely and he said, Wike has, ever since then, he has been a clog in the wheels of the People's Democratic Party, a high-right party member who has gone to go and serve in opposition government, which is it's not of the ordinary. It's something that is, but in this situation, it just goes to show that and from the look of things, from how it seems, Wike just wants to make sure that the PDP is as moralized and as incapacitated as it can be. against 2027. I think he's acting the spoiler at this point. You know, at this point,
given
he's
the
just acting
fact that
spoiler.
each political party in Nigeria, they have their own ideology. We have the All Progressives Congress, we have the People's Democratic Party, we have the Labour Party. Now, are you saying that, you know, individuals of this party does not have or does not know anything about the ideology, that someone's idea or opinion can easily influence them? Is that what you're trying to say this morning? Or is it that the parties in Nigeria have no ideology?
Well, the thing is, typically, every political party should have an ideology, and that is the ideology which it comes in the form of its manifesto, and that is what followers tend to follow and, you know, stick. But in Nigeria, it's become something. Of course, today you have this politician in this party, next tomorrow this politician jumping to the next party. At this point, it's politicians without. There's nothing like ideology when it comes to party politics in Nigeria. It's just, okay, where your bread gets buttered the most and which government is in that point at that moment. Yeah, so in Nigeria, politics is no longer in advanced countries, maybe, yeah, but for Nigeria, I don't think our political parties or our politicians, right, rather, I don't think joining politics is about ideology anymore. It's just about personal gains and interest, you know.
Now, let me bring you back to Barrister Darlington Agumo. Since this week or thereabouts, the judiciary have been on the radar. You know, the topic of conversation from Delifaro Timi and Afa Babalola to this point where Tony Cole is also saying something about how Nyesom Wike's invitation, you know, to go talk during the NJC, that's the National Judicial Council meeting and briefing in Abuja, also is kind of raising dust. He made a statement that how can Nyesom Wike be invited to go talk on that, given the fact that he has issues surrounding bribing judges also on his head. Now, what does this really portend? What does this really speak about Nigeria judicial system?
Fina, it is getting worse. It's like the people we are talking to, they are not listening. Under normal circumstances, with what has been said so far with Wike and his largesse to the judges, it should have been, you know, piping low. But you can see that he's still like a star boy to the judiciary. And you ask yourself, in practice, Wike has not been a very outstanding lawyer. So what is this romance with judges and all that? You bought a car for them, you built houses for them, and we are asking, what does that portend? If not what Delifaro Timi is saying. I mean, when you see bribe, do they write it on somebody's forehead? You have no right under the law to do what you did.
So do you think that all this happening is just a way to water the ground for the 2027 general election? Or are we going to expect more?
It's looking like, because they say when you are bitten by a snake, when you see the head of a lizard, do you need anybody to tell you to start running?
All right. Barrister, talking about 2027, I like the fact. I want to ask you, how much responsibility should the PDP take for what is happening to the party itself? Granted that, look, Wike played a very smart one. Before he accepted the appointment from the president, he wrote officially to PDP, to the National Working Committee, to NEC, asking for permission to go and serve in this government.
Yeah.
So at this point, how much responsibility should the PDP take, you know, for allowing their own party member to go serve in a different political party's government?
This is not new. We have seen it happen in this country.
Okay, instances?
Yes, when you wrote a letter, I'm coming. When you wrote a letter to your party member that you want to go and serve under APC, please, did you include in that letter that, look, when I go to that party, I am going to give you people head, I'm going to be a thorn in your flesh.
Is he giving them help?
I am going to
criticize the PDP publicly.
I am going to destabilize your party.
How has he done that?
Hold on. I mean, so come on, don't relax. I'm coming.
We are having a
for somebody who left Rivers State as a governor, okay, and he's the arrowhead in what is going on there. Please, what does that tell you? You remember that this started with Rivers State. Remember when PDP people went to support Fubara being a PDP governor. And Wike said that everybody who went to my state, I will put fire in your own state. Is that not where this problem started? So tell me, where did the PDP leaders go wrong in supporting Fubara? And Wike had to flare up. On what basis?
Sorry, Barrister, you said that this thing, the permission that he took, that it has happened before. Was it in a government of national unity, or was it in an ordinary government where a member of a political party took permission to go and serve in another party's government?
Oh my God. Mr. Ogoro, when people have been appointed to do certain things in a particular government, some of them are appointed based on professional competence. Okay. Not that they are members of that party. We have seen it under, what is it called, under PDP, where they employ people from outside who are not even party members. Is that not true? Okonji Iweala,
isn't that a different case? I'm talking about people.
They were brought in from outside. They were never a member of PDP.
We're talking about politicians who are appointed to serve in another
It is the same
government.
thing. It is the same thing. So for them to even ask Wike to go, maybe it is because they felt that Wike is going to represent their interests in that party.
Exactly the question.
But it did not
how
happen.
much responsibility should they take for giving him that permission?
Now that the man has gone rogue, like a loose cannon, they have to rein him in.
Can they?
They can.
Why haven't they?
Because they want to be very cautious. Wike went to go and obtain a court injunction that nobody should expel him. That was the first thing he did. He's there. And that is why people are being cautious. It's not as if they don't know what to do with Wike. A time will come when Wike will expire himself. Okay. Because this thing he's doing now will definitely come to an end one day. Okay. Evil does not last forever.
So as you wrap up this conversation,
what he did in the rivers, is it proper for a man who wrote?
As you wrap up this conversation, something is trending, on social media. I would like for us to have that video. Some people have said that that the FCT minister looked pale. That even when he went to welcome the visiting German president, Frank, that he was looking pale and more like drunk and something like that. It also happened when Narendra Modi came, when it was alleged that he missed steps, while welcoming him and taking him to the villa. What do you think that is something that should be put out there? No, considering the fact that we want to protect ourselves, to be patriotic. Is it something that we should spotlight?
Mr. Okoro,
yes, sir.
There are things that happen in government that you don't need to be told. When people are becoming, they say those who have overfed themselves, they always ask the gods for a wrestling bout. When Wike went to Abuja and he was telling everybody, I have come to torment you, I will give you high blood pressure, I will do this. The people he threatened, will they be looking at him? No, tell me, remember El-Rufai, when he became governor the first time, he went to Kaduna and started acting like a bull in a China shop. Remember what happened to him? My dear, whatever is troubling Wike, he knows. Those he's pursuing are starting
whatever is troubling him, does it look like something is troubling him?
He cannot be looking like that for nothing now. Atiku told us that he drinks a lot early in the morning. And the doctors have told us that you don't take too much alcohol as an elderly person. It affects your liver and all the system in you. So if we can have not stopped drinking, the result will eventually come.
Barrister, I would not like us to assume things here because we don't have any facts to those things.
But Atiku said
that's what Atiku said. And we also should not try to defame the character of Wike.
We are trying to analyze issues here. We are not calling out names. If Wike is not doing well, let him tell us.
Say something? Go ahead.
No, let's have Barrister Darlington's final thought.
Yes,
if everything that we have talked about.
If Wike is not feeling well, let him tell us so that we can even pray or tell him where to go and heal himself.
All right. Beyond that,
Barrister,
you have final thought on everything. Is that all that you have to say?
Okay.
Our discussion.
Closing thoughts.
Discussion today, your final thought.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I wanted to point out what my friend is saying about his governor. Because, should I go on? I'll take your permission here. Okay.
No problem, you can end, of course, you can end.
What I'm saying is that, Mr. Okoro, please, we should be serious now. Okay. With the way the economy is now, all hands must be on deck. From the local government to the state to the federal. You don't choose a third 11 for an international match that is for first 11. All this selectivity is costing us a lot. Imagine if somebody were to come to Edo State now and the governor were to address him and all these things going on. Please, how can we excuse it? It is inexcusable. When we want to select people, please, there are many hands in that state and in every other state that can do the job. Do you know that speech alone can galvanize the people to do something? That was what gave that standard J.F. Kennedy. Well, I have a documentary of all his speeches.
Make their life better and increase their salary and buy more cars for them. Does that mean he's trying to influence them? I don't think so. Yes, Wike in River State. Till today, I practice in River State. I've been to courts. The National Industrial Court was forgotten for a very long time. He brought up and built that complex. The High Courts, ETC as case may be, if you go to the judges' quarters in River State, it's one of the best in the country. It is not his personal money. Even in Abuja, he built those grades on the budget or the judicature. In every budget, both federal and state, judiciary has their own budget. So when the government is implementing and doing those things, what do you want? Are you saying he's using his own money to now influence them? No, that's not true. The third one is this. He went and gave the address at the NJC or whatever as a life bencher. For those who made him a life bencher of the body of benchers, he's an exclusive preserve of senior lawyers and think tank of the legal profession. Wike has been a member of that particular body, and it was the MBA or whatever that made him a life bencher.
All right.
And when you are a life bencher, are you telling me that those who made him so do not know exactly what they are doing? So it's something I don't understand. Please, let us not deliberate the minds and
Barrister, we are absolutely out of time.
I disagree.
Barrister, we are out of time. We are out of time. No, we are out of time. Barrister, you cannot disagree because we are out of time. We are out of time. Barrister Darlington, we are out of time.
It's a life bencher.
Thank you very much.
What did Wike contribute to legal
and also Barrister Asim Adams. And we thank you very much, gentlemen, and your thoughts. Well, that's it on the show today. This is where we wrap it up. At 9 o'clock, we'll also be bringing a newspaper review. Thank you. Join us again. I am Moses Humphrey.
And I'm Fina Okechukwu.